U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met on Saturday before the funeral service for Pope Francis in the Vatican, according to Zelensky's press office. According to Associated Press, White House Communications Director Stephen Chung confirmed the meeting and said they met privately today and had a very productive discussion. More details about the meeting will follow, he said. Shortly after arriving in Rome last Friday, Trump said on social media that Ukraine and Russia should meet for very high-level talks on ending the three-year war sparked by Russia's invasion. His envoy, Steve Witkoff, met with Russian President Vladimir Putin earlier Friday, and Trump said both sides were very close to a deal. U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky both attended the funeral of Pope Francis at St. Peter's Square at the Vatican in front row on Saturday. According to Associated Press, Pope Francis is being laid to rest Saturday in ceremony consistent with his priorities as Pope and personal wishes as pastor. Presidents and princes will attend the funeral at St. Peter's Square, but ordinary faithful and a group of 40 migrants, prisoners, homeless and transgender people will be the privileged ones to welcome him to his final resting place at the St. Mary Major Basilica across town where he loved to go to pray. The Mass at St. Peter's will be attended by world leaders, including U.S. President Donald Trump, and followed by a coffin procession to St. Mary Major with camera positions along its route. Among the world leaders attending, U.S. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania, French President Emmanuel Macron, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, UK's Prince William, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, First Lady Alina Zelenska, President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen, Italian President Sergio Mattarella, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, German Parliament Speaker Julia Klöckner, Polish President Andrzej Duda and the First Lady, Agata Kornhauser-Duda, Austrian President Alexander van der Bellen, Austrian Chancellor Christian Stocker, Swiss President Karen Keller-Sutter, Croatian President Zoran Milanovic, Croatian Prime Minister Andrej Plenković, Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos, Hungarian President Thomas Suliak, Irish President Michael D. Higgins, Irish Prime Minister Michael Martin, Irish Deputy Prime Minister Simon Harris, Kosovo President Vjosa Osmani Sadriu, Spanish King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia, Hungarian politician Peter Magyar, Kenya President William Ruto and former U.S. President Joe Biden.
isola simbolo del dramma dell'emergenza, con migliaia di persone annegate in mare. Nella stessa linea è stato anche il viaggio a Lesbos, insieme con il patriarca ecumenico e con l'arcivescovo di Atene, come pure la celebrazione di una...
World dignitaries and Catholic faithful attended Pope Francis' funeral in St. Peter's Square on Saturday. According to Associated Press, despite the presence of presidents and princes, prisoners and migrants ushered him into the basilica where he will be buried, reflecting his priorities as Pope, as hundreds of thousands have flocked to the funeral. Massachusetts U.S. President Donald Trump, French President Emmanuel Macron, the UN chief and European Union leaders, as well as Britain's Prince William and the Spanish royal family, were in attendance. Francis is breaking with recent tradition and will be buried in the St. Mary Major Basilica, where a simple underground tomb awaits him with just his name, Franciscus.
William.
In questo momento sono entrati Starmer, ucrainiano, inglese
La Meloni deve venire a Cova.
Chi sta entrando?
קודם זלנסקי והיו מחיאות כפיים, כשטראמפ עבר לא היו מחיאות כפיים,